The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
I don't know if it's an ability or if you have it, just you can't quit. And I've seen people.
It's 9:08 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Inauguration Day. Are you big hype? We're big hype over here. We've witnessed the greatest political comeback in modern history. The greatest political comeback possibly ever. Name a better comeback. The only one that comes to mind for me is Jesus. Honestly. They impeached him twice. They shot at him twice. They indicted him over and over and over and over again. They did everything they could to derail this man, but coming in 2 hours, less than 2 hours, Donald J. Trump will be sworn in as the 47th president of the United States of America. It is absolutely unreal. And to be here with you, to do this with you, it is an honor of a lifetime. We're going to be covering the inauguration here all day long. Brian Wilson is back in D.C. He's actually camped out in John Rose's Congress office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he's going to be reporting to us live from Washington, D.C., and we're going to be watching this thing live with you. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, you're going to be able to see all of the proceedings as they happen in real time. We're going to be covering that for you live, and we'll be Mystery Science Theatering that thing with me and Wilson come 11 o'clock. Can't wait. Can't believe it's here. It feels like an absolute dream. You know, last night there was the big rally over at Capital One Arena, and Donald Trump Jr. put it best. Said, has anybody ever been this excited for a Monday? Ever? Honestly. Have you ever been this excited for a Monday?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
I don't think any of us have ever been this excited for a Monday.
Big hype.
Has anyone ever been this excited for Monday morning to roll around? It's like Christmas, Easter, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, my birthday, all wrapped up into one special day where we can take back our country once and for all.
Yeah, and the people at Capital One Arena last night, very, very excited. Now, obviously, plans have changed quite a bit, and they say it's because of the cold, but I think it has a lot more to do with security concerns than they're letting on. So the inauguration is going to be in the Rotunda right now. The Bidens are hosting Donald Trump and Melania for the pre-inauguration tea. Pre-inauguration tea. I hope Trump is having a Diet Coke and not having tea. That's what I would have requested. It said, hey, I'll take a Diet Coke. I'm going to be crushing Diet Cokes today. In celebration, we're gonna get a little crazy. But we got a long day, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, before we even get started, Joe Biden has released some pardons. And of course he has. He said yesterday that he wasn't going anywhere. And this is in, I believe, South Carolina. He was talking to a few people. It looked like an empty room, but it was a few people there. And he says, I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. He is going to be leaving. He's going to be spending a lot of time on the beach. But before he leaves office, he has signed a slew of new pardons. It was just a few days ago, he was saying that he would only pardon individuals who committed crimes, right? Including himself. But today we're finding out, no. We got some pardons. Liz Cheney, Anthony Fauci, Mark Milley, to name a few. The decision by Biden comes after Donald Trump warned of an enemies list. That's how the AP is putting it. Oh, Trump had an enemy list of those who crossed him politically or sought to hold him accountable for his attempt to overturn his 2020 election loss. This is how the AP reports it. And his role in storming of the U.S. Capitol. So they're nervous. They're nervous. They say the issuance of these pardons should not be mistaken as an acknowledgement that any individual engaged in any wrongdoing, nor should acceptance be misconstrued as an admission of guilt for any offense, Biden said in a statement. Our nation owes these public servants a debt of gratitude for their tireless commitment to our country. And I say, what? I mean, let's talk about it. Should we talk about it? Liz Cheney, for instance. Liz Cheney, we owe her a debt of gratitude for her public service. Liz Cheney, the one who was witness tampering. Cheney secretly contacted a J6 witness. That was revealed in the House Oversight Report. She sent unauthorized messages to Cassidy Hutchinson, a key witness in the January 6 hearings, without her lawyer's knowledge. That kind of direct interference is unethical, to say the least. Could violate federal witness tampering laws. Well, she doesn't have to worry about it. How about just the J6 committee cover-up in general? Cheney used her position on the January 6 committee to push a partisan anti-Trump agenda. They ignored key evidence, they blocked exculpatory testimony, and suppressed facts that didn't fit their narrative over and over and over. The FBI should be looking into Liz Cheney, not defending her. Mark Milley, how about Mark Milley? General Mark Milley. This is the guy who made secret calls to China to say that if Trump ever ordered an attack, he was going to give him the heads up. Do you remember that? This came out in 2021. Milley unilaterally called China's top general, promising he'd warn them if Trump ever ordered an attack. This guy just got a preemptive pardon. Milley, the same guy that oversaw the Afghanistan withdrawal, preemptive pardon. You leave 13 troops dead in a botched withdrawal, and that's no big deal. You get pardoned. You leave thousands of Americans stranded. That's no big deal. You leave billions behind in military gear and equipment. That's no big deal. No big deal. But he undermined Trump time and time again and politicized the military. He gets a pardon. Are you noticing a trend? And then one Dr. Anthony Fauci. Fauci gets a preemptive pardon. Fauci. His COVID response was just an unmitigated failure. Okay? He pushed lockdowns. He forced masks, vaccine mandates. He crippled small businesses. He destroyed lives. He sent kids back years in school. This guy gets a pardon? The same guy that was lying about the origins of COVID? Fauci denied that it could have leaked from the Wuhan Institute of Virology, despite emails showing he knew early on that a lab leak was the most likely scenario. Well, he lied about it because his own NIH was funding the gain-of-function research at Wuhan, the same research that may have unleashed that virus on the world. Fauci, the same guy who championed the experimental vaccines, the mRNA jabs, mocked anyone that hesitated, and worked with the Biden administration to force Americans into having to get them. The mandates stemmed completely from Fauci. He gets a pardon. And he made a lot of money while he was doing all of this. A lot of money. The pharmaceutical giants raked in billions. And now we're seeing questions about vaccine safety. I mean, I played this clip a couple times. The owner of the LA Times talking about, kids that have pancreatic cancer, kids that have colon cancer. And he's like, we never saw this before the jab. Can we at least ask questions now? I don't know if it's the jab, but can we ask the questions? This is from the guy that mandated it. Fauci. These are the pardons we're getting from Joe Biden on his way out the door. Unbelievable. Ron DeSantis weighed in. He said one of Biden's greatest abuses of power was forcing the mRNA shots by executive fiat, which Florida successfully blocked. Now on his way out the door, Biden pardons the chief henchman of that and so many other abuses. The swamp protects its own. And the swamp is lashing out and fighting back. Get ready. We can celebrate the win today, but this is really just the beginning of the battle. It's just getting started. It's just getting started. There's already rumors that Doge is going to be sued instantly from day one. Minutes after Trump gets sworn in, they're reporting that Doge is going to be sued by swamp rats. Elon Musk, this is from The Guardian, Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency program is expected to be sued within minutes of Donald Trump being sworn in. The 30-page lawsuit obtained by the Washington Post challenges the legality of the government advisory committee Trump claims he'll create by alleging it violates federal transparency rules on disclosure, hiring, and other practices. The public interest law firm National Security Counselors say in the claim that Musk's efficiency panel meets the bar to be considered a federal advisory committee, but fails to have fairly balanced representation, keep records of its meetings, and be open to public scrutiny as required by law. Isn't it hilarious? The same people that just pardoned Liz Cheney, and I say people, right? It's a Biden pardon, but we all understand what's happening behind the scenes. The same people that pardoned Liz Cheney for her role on the bipartisan J6 committee are now worried that Doge isn't going to be bipartisan enough. It's not going to slow them down. They're going to keep going. Doge has already reportedly hired dozens of staffers who work out of Musk's SpaceX offices in Washington, D.C., and often communicate using the encrypted messaging app Signal. We talked to Jack Posobiec a few weeks back, and he said they got Doge officers in just about every office in the government now, and that's going to be ready to go starting today. Vivek Ramaswamy, though, have you heard this? There were rumors all weekend long that Vivek was going to be stepping away from Doge, that there were frictions with staff Sources close to Musk have not spoken highly of Ramaswamy in recent weeks. Frustrations growing that the biotech multimillionaire wasn't pulling his weight. And I see this, and CBS broke the story originally. But yesterday, Trump said Vivek was still with Doge. So that could be fake news. It's something to keep an eye on. We'll see what happens. And there was also talks of Vivek being the new senator in Ohio. But, Trump wants him to be the new senator. But Ohio Governor Mike DeWine, the rhino in Ohio, he doesn't like being told what to do. So apparently he's pushing back against that. There's a lot going on today. And people on their way to D.C. over the weekend, the energy, absolutely just phenomenal. So high. I don't want to focus on the negative. I think we should focus on the positive here today. 47 is going to be inaugurated. And on the flights into D.C., I saw so many videos like this over the weekend with passengers on their planes celebrating. Just on commercial flights. You got to love it. The energy's high. We're going to be covering a lot of this. Presidential tea is going on right now, and we'll cover everything when it comes to the inauguration all day long here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand, and I got to tell you about my friends at Paul Winkler Inc. I was actually just saw Paul last week talking about all sorts of things like, hey, what do you think about Bitcoin? What do you think about gold? He said, not a fan. What do they buy those with? Dollars. So if it's such a reassurance, he's like, why are they accepting dollars for gold and Bitcoin? See, Paul always kind of breaks things down for me in a way that makes a lot of sense, and he can do the exact same thing for you. Now, my wife and I work with Paul. We're clients, and I do get paid to do these commercials, but I don't get paid to be a client. I'm a client because I trust Paul, and whenever I have a random question or a random idea, I can send it to him, and he can give me the honest answer, the truth, as he knows it, and he breaks it down in a way that I trust him, and he takes all that stress out of financial planning, out of retirements, and out of investments. He can do the exact same thing for you, but you got to set up a 15-minute phone call today, and you can set up that phone call on his website, paulwinkler.com. One 15-minute phone call could change your entire financial future for you, your kids, your grandkids. Do it today, paulwinkler.com.
Well, things are starting to get underway on this Inauguration Day up on Capitol Hill in the White House. The Trumps and the Bidens, they have now met. They are together inside the White House as we speak. And also, in local news, Tennessee wins a landmark lawsuit. We'll have those stories at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
It's 9:27 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, betterwater.com if you need a water filter. Brian Wilson is live in D.C., broadcasting from Congressman John Rose's office. What's up, Brian? How we doing, man?
We're doing very well. And, I was just thinking, talk about an unpleasant hour that Donald Trump has had to spend. He's been at the White House having tea with the Bidens for the last hour. How could you possibly go in there and just make nice for an hour? But apparently that is what is exactly happening. He didn't look like he was particularly happy, and one could understand why, given all of the news of the morning with the pardons being handed out at the last minute, etc. But they are now about to emerge from the White House and head up to Capitol Hill. And up on Capitol Hill, the rotunda is filling up with elected officials, cabinet members, all getting ready to witness. There will only be a handful of people who get to actually lay eyes on it. The rest of us will have to watch on television, but actually witness the transfer of power, which, because it's been moved indoors, it'll all take place at noon inside the Capitol Rotunda.
Yeah, and we're excited to have you join us for that, Brian. You know, I love your expertise and the information that you bring on the subject. And you can watch live on Super Talk TV. We're going to have picture-in-picture of the entire swearing-in process. Me and Brian will Mystery Science Theater 3000 this thing. And if you're watching on Super Talk TV now, you can see those members of Congress walking in. I see Ronnie Jackson there and a few others. I saw Desjardins a little while ago. Is John Rose going to be hanging with you, Brian, or is he going to the Rotunda?
I have not yet seen the congressman, although he's been kind enough to lend us his personal office for our broadcast here today. So he has not yet made his way through. But the last I heard, a lot of people didn't think they were going to be able to get into the rotunda, including Marsha Blackburn, who wasn't sure she was going to get in. So, but as I'm watching the pictures that you're seeing as well, it looks like a lot of the seats were put up at the last minute. And a lot of people who you would expect to be there will indeed be there.
Yeah, and we're also learning that after the inauguration, when he goes over to Capital One Arena for the big celebration party, that he's going to be signing a series of executive orders live in front of the 20,000 people that are in attendance.
That's exactly right. And so, he's going to apparently take the show on the road. And then, that will get a great response from the crowd that is gathered there.
Oh, I can't wait.
The First Ladies, First Lady Jill Biden and Melania Trump are now moving toward the beast at the White House. And in the next few minutes, we will see the president and the president-elect emerge as they get ready to drive the 16 blocks from the White House to Capitol Hill.
Yeah, well, we're happy to have you along for the ride, Brian, and we'll be checking back in with you momentarily. It is 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 9:31 now. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll have a complete weather forecast here shortly. Well, President-elect Trump is now at the White House for a reception with President Biden. Well, in fact, they are literally just now leaving the White House, and they are now on their way to the Capitol, where Mr. Trump will be inaugurated. This meeting comes just hours after Biden issued all these sweeping pardons for several people that Trump had singled out for possible prosecution, including members of the House January 6 investigation, former Trump Joint Chiefs Chair General Mark Milley, and Dr. Anthony Fauci. ABC's Mary Bruce reports.
President Biden is really sending this strong signal that he fears that Donald Trump will abuse his power in office. We do know, though, that they've discussed this before. The last time that President Biden and Donald Trump spoke extensively was during that nearly 2-hour-long meeting shortly after the election, and this came up. Joe Biden raising the possibility that Donald Trump would follow through on those promises of retribution and what it might mean for these officials.
Back here in Tennessee, the state wins a lawsuit against an asset manager accused of paying too much attention to environmental and social issues instead of clients' returns on investment. Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti tells WTN's Matt Murphy that the company BlackRock has settled.
The issue is not that they were doing liberal things. It's that we're not clearly representing what they were doing with the money, and they have an obligation, a fiduciary duty to maximize the return on investment. And this settlement guarantees that going forward, that is what's going to happen.
From now on, BlackRock will be subject to increased regular audits, compliance training, cooperation with the Attorney General, and improved investor communications, as well as a commitment to financial interests. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in, and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
That was Donald Trump last night at Capital One Arena, live in Washington, D.C., the victory rally. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water, LLC. BetterWater.com if you need a water filter. Donald Trump leaving the White House with Joe Biden. I don't know who was holding Joe's hand. Somebody was. Oh, I cannot wait for this chapter to be over. Murphy's in studio. Did you see how nice Melania looked?
I was away from the screen, and I have not seen Melania. What colors are we wearing today?
So she's got like this. I'm not going to pay it any, service, but she's got like this sleek black hat with a white stripe, black trench coat. Looks like some knee-high boots. Everybody's going. Everybody's clamoring. Everybody's clamoring. My wife sent me a text. She said, "Do you see how stunning?"
Melania is stunning.
100%. Do you know what the internet's saying about Dr. Jill's look?
Not so good.
Not so good.
Not so good.
I don't want to say it.
You got to say it now. You can't drop that and then not say anything.
The internet's saying that Dr. Jill looks like Grimace from McDonald's. I don't know. I didn't do it. I didn't tweet it. That's just the internet.
Just hopping around.
She's got like a purple. She's got like a purple fuzzy overcoat.
Does she have a purple fuzzy overcoat?
I don't know. What was he supposed to be? Does anybody know?
Hamburglar.
Well, that made sense.
He was a burglar. He wanted some hamburgers and he wanted to steal them. That's Joe. That's Joe. Ronald was a weirdo clown.
That's Kamala.
Yep.
The Fry Guy, remember the Fry? I don't know what the Fry Guys were.
No, I don't remember the Fry Guys.
The Fry Guys were, I actually do. The Fry Guys came out a few years after Pac-Man hit hard.
Okay.
And they were like, basically, they were like the little Pac-Man monsters.
Little knockoffs.
But what was Grimace?
I don't know. I'll leave it to the text line. Somebody on the text line will tell me what Grimace was.
They'll give you a full detailed rendition of what
lest
Grimace
we
is.
not forget Mayor McCheese.
Yeah.
The honorable Mayor McCheese.
It was really good. So she's wearing the purple. Do you think that's maybe a nod?
I mean,
the purple. I don't know.
Purple's a thing, right? It's supposed to be
purple
unity.
States, blah, blah, blah,
well, it's like blue and red. It's purple. We're all Americans.
Whatever.
At least she's not looking like a 70s couch. That's good.
Man, I remember. I see. Melania is so stunning that I remember these things. She wore the baby blue. Remember the baby blue?
Yes.
In 2017. So good.
If I'm J.D. Vance's wife, you just say, hey, whatever you want me to wear, I'll wear.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you do for 4 years?
So did you see them at Arlington yesterday?
Yes.
So at Arlington yesterday, and I always forget Vance's wife's name, and I'm
Usha.
Thank you very much. Usha was wearing the stunning white coat. I mean, it was like a cream white coat. It was very, very beautiful. And she's a beautiful woman. And Melania comes out, and she's in this incredible black outfit with a cape that was attached to it. And I wondered, as they were coming down, and I don't think these things, I'm thinking, I wonder if you're Usha, you call up, right? You don't want to upstage,
you can't.
47's wife, the first lady. So you got to coordinate that stuff.
Or do you, because they had like a salt and pepper thing going on.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Did you see the soldier that was with them?
I did.
Sergeant Tyler Vargas Andrews. He was the guy that survived the terrorist attack at Abbey Gate. And he was the guy who he had sights on the bomber, and his general didn't give him the green light to take him out.
Oh man,
and
I didn't realize that.
That's who Trump invited to lay the wreath with him.
Good for him.
And then this morning we get a pardon for Mark Milley.
Isn't that nice? Isn't that convenient?
The same guy that said, "Hey, I'll let you know if Trump's going to attack you," to China. That guy gets a preemptive pardon.
Traitor to his nation.
Unbelievable.
Such a great day, though. It's such a great day for America.
Listen, we're on the cusp of prosperity. Did you hear this? They're going to sign the executive orders live at Capital One Arena. They got a desk set up. He's going to do it with a crowd. He's like, what does everybody think about this? Cartels are now terrorists. Let's go.
It's like I caught, it reminds me, did you ever see the movie Weird Science?
Yes.
When they're building the chick.
Big fan.
And then they're like building her, and they're doing all these inputs. We need to do this. We need to do this. We need to have this. We need to have this. And then at some point, Anthony Michael says, she's doing it on her own. She's learning on her own. Like, it's like Trump has learned so much from this first term, and then even more. I think he learned more from the 4 years he wasn't in office.
Yeah.
And now he is unfettered by reelection. He is unfettered by any of these swamp critters that pretend to be friends coming in there trying to sneak their nose under the tent. And we're going to see Trump on steroids, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think it terrifies them.
Yeah,
I think
it
that they are absolutely terrified. That's what these preemptive pardons are, because they understand that they did him dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And Dad's home and he's pissed.
So I was up there, and I know you travel all over and you've been to D.C. too, but I was up there in 2015. We did these annual trips for this annual event that happened, an anti-immigration event or illegal immigration event. And in 2015, when he was ready to announce, Washington, D.C. was laughing their ass off. And I experienced it. You would go to these cocktail things, and the bureaucracy of Washington, D.C. was like, this dude is a frackin' joke.
Yep.
A joke. A year later, in 2016, while the campaign's hot and heavy, Donald Trump's the presumptive he was the nominee at that point. They weren't laughing. They were like, oh, my goodness, this is a weirdo. But what they were saying is this city's going to chew him up. He doesn't have any idea what he's about to get into. He has no clue what's about to happen. You flash forward 8 years later, who chewed who up?
Yeah, he spit him out.
And there's a lot more work to do with the FBI, with some of these deep state agencies, and I'm excited. I'm here for the ride, man.
Yeah. Who are you most excited for, cabinet-wise, to get in there?
I mean, I'm excited for Kennedy. Only in as much as I think we've allowed the so-called experts who have invested interest in making money off their expertise. I'm ready to see how we start deconstructing all of that.
I'm with you. And I think you could see real change in our lifetime. I mean, and you're already seeing it when a chain like Steak and Shake says we're going back to beef tallow for fries. It's
right. Or
huge.
just, and just little things like we don't. Why are we still putting red dye in our food that potentially could give us cancer?
Well, and the funny thing about that ban is it's 2 to 3 years. It's going to take 2 to 3 years for them to effectively ban it. So like it needs to be done quicker.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm very excited about that. I'm excited about not allowing the pharmaceutical companies to continue to tell us that what we really need to do is take more pills where the pharmaceutical companies make more money. And I think Kennedy will begin that process. I'm equally as excited about Kash Patel being the director of the FBI.
Let's go. I can't wait. His confirmation hearing is going to be just balls to the walls, insane.
Absolutely. But I mean, well, because the FBI, they hide behind this nonsense that they are extra. I mean, they consider themselves extra constitutional.
Yeah.
They consider themselves outside of the parameters of the Constitution of the United States. And they use this security as a shield against us knowing what they're doing. And I'm like, that's not the way any of this should work. The impetus should be on you to show people, elected officials, that something is so grave a concern to the security of the United States of America that you can't tell the American people. Otherwise, everybody gets to know everything.
Yeah.
That's the way that a free country works.
Did you see Mike Johnson took away Space Nukes Mike Turner's role on, what was that committee? What was the committee that he was on? He was on the Intelligence Committee.
He was the chair of the Intelligence Committee.
Yeah, and remember he ran around over the summer. He's like, Space Nukes!
Well, and yeah, ruined my relationship with Mark Green. Thanks a lot, Mike Turner, because I questioned. I was like, hey, what's going on? Mark Green's like, shut up.
You can get everybody on the afternoons. Bill Lee will even come in, but not Mark Green. Not Mark Green.
Oh, we'll get Green. One of these days.
Space Nukes Mike Turner, not on the Intelligence Committee.
Look at this.
We got the motorcade pulling up to the Capitol. I mean, to be a fly on the wall in that limousine with Donald Trump, what do you think is going through their minds?
I mean, I imagine that there's a lot of small talk going on. I mean, I can't imagine that Donald Trump said all he needed to say on November 5th, and the people spoke for him very loudly, very clearly. It was funny, like so many of the liberals over the course of the weekend after the decision was made to shut down the outside inauguration, they were like, it's because he's worried about his crowd size. I was like, Donald Trump was worried about one crowd size. That crowd showed up on November 5th.
Yep, 100%.
Right.
I just wonder if there's a sense of like giddy anticipation because it's not consequential terms, right? Like they're not happening one after the other. It has to feel a little bit more new again. You know what I mean? Than it would have if he was inaugurated again in 2020, still holding the office.
Well, and Trump was, and I didn't, I mean, I get it. I didn't necessarily agree with this, but Trump was absent last time around, wasn't he? I don't think he did a lot of this.
No.
Yeah, I think he just stayed out of it.
Yep, he sat out.
He sat out. And so they did not experience some of this activity beforehand. And so, you know, I suppose if you wanted to give Joe Biden credit for anything, I'm imagining that Joe Biden could just sit home in his Depends and not do any of this. But he's doing it. And, you know, whether he knows it or not, he's doing it. Grimace knows.
What's the over-under on a Biden pants change today? Do we think that there's a real possibility of that?
I just want to watch. So does anyone else remember have there always been 3 sets of limousines? I know that there's been
more.
2.
Yeah, it seems like there's an extra decoy
but now there's another decoy, right? So I've seen the motorcade where there were 2. But I've never seen them where there's 3.
And a lot of anti-drone technology on these motorcades. Biden and Trump are now walking into the Capitol. Man, here we go.
I mean, this is very exciting. We've got a little over an hour to go.
Yep.
Before we have a 47th president of the United States of America.
He'll take the oath of office in 1 hour and 11 minutes.
I like that tie. That's like a deeper, like almost a burgundy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what I'm looking at?
Yes, sir.
Am I seeing that right?
Yep.
And there's Joe. He's about to follow. Oh, look, thanks, Joe.
Joe's wondering why all these people are here for him. It's 9:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Thank you, Matt Murphy, for joining me for a little bit. Appreciate you as always. Matt's got a show in the afternoons, 3 to 7. If you didn't know, he does a bang up job. I'm here for my friends at United Structural Systems. These guys also do a bang up job. If you're having issues with waterproofing or foundation repair, call who Tennessee trusts. Call United Structural Systems. They've been doing this work since 1994, and they're not going anywhere. You know, when you call the new guy in town, you can't be sure that they're ever even going to be around if you do have a warranty issue. That's not the case with USS. This is how they've accumulated over 30,000 satisfied customers. After the snow melts, where does that water go? If you got cracks in your foundation, it could be getting into your crawl space. It could be getting into your basement. And if you don't fix it soon, that could lead to wood rot, that could lead to mold, that could lead to all sorts of terrifying issues for your home. Get it fixed the right way the first time with United Structural Systems. 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, USSTN.com.
President Jimmy Carter.
Member of the
Well, I think it's significant that he is there and just showing support and solidarity.
Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll have a special report on the inauguration of the 47th president. And hostages continue to be released in the Gaza ceasefire that so far is holding up. We'll have those stories again at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Jay. 9:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The show's brought to you by my friends at Better Water LLC, betterwater.com if you need a water filter. So J.D. Vance is going to be sworn in about 33 minutes. And if you're watching on Super Talk TV, we got the live stream going, so you can see all the festivities. And I don't know if you noticed this, but I sure did. Mike Pence taking a lonely walk in the rotunda alone.
Just a nice little waltz down the hallway.
Himself. All by himself. This, we can talk about the Democrats being mad. We can talk about, the Bidens being upset or Kamala Harris. But this has really got to rub Mike Pence the wrong way, doesn't it?
Dang, I wasn't invited the second time. Oh, well.
Poor Mike Pence. So Mike walks in solo, and it's very disappointing. Very disappointing. He's got a lot of free time on his hands now. So he's making it his mission to currently Mike Pence's new mission is to make sure that RFK doesn't get confirmed. To which I wonder, how much big pharma money are you taking there, Mike?
Yeah, how big's the check?
Honestly, I think out of all the guys, RFK is going to get up there and he's going to slap these guys down with just facts and data. He can just roll it out the back of his head like nobody's business. And I see our own Tim Burchett on the stream right now. Tim, he's wearing looks like his Carhartt jacket. He's taking some pictures.
He's keeping us updated.
Do you see him?
He's
taking pictures on the stream? I
love him. I love him so.
Tim Burchett is one of my favorites. I do hope that he tries to go for governor.
I do too. That would be hype.
I know a lot of people are talking Marsha Blackburn. A lot of the Republicans in the state want Blackburn. A lot of the donors in the state want Blackburn. And that kind of makes me want Tim Burchett even more. Not going to lie. Hey, I'll vote for whoever is the conservative on the ticket, obviously. But the primary season for the governor in the state is going to be fun.
I mean, what if we all wrote in Tim Burchett instead? I'm just saying, might have a big enough push.
I don't know. We'll watch. We got Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg in attendance at the inauguration. And it's funny, over the weekend, Steve Bannon gave an interview to ABC News. And they asked him about the tech CEOs who are now big fans of Trump. Steve Bannon's answer when we return. It's 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. It's 10 a.m. I'm Jay Harper with your top stories. We'll have this chilly weather forecast for you here in just a moment. Well, the inauguration festivities are well underway in our nation's capital this morning. Here's Sherry Preston with a special report.
People are being led into the Capitol Rotunda ahead of today's inauguration. The Trumps and the Bidens about to depart the White House on their way there. ABC White House correspondent Karen Travers has more.
President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden welcome President-elect Donald Trump and Melania Trump back to the White House this morning. Welcome home, the president said to Trump as he greeted him at the top of the North Portico steps at the front door of the White House. The Bidens and Trumps briefly spoke before posing for a photo and then heading inside. President Biden confirmed to reporters he left a letter for the incoming president, but didn't say what he wrote. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
Earlier today, the president issued a preemptive pardon for members of the January 6th Select Committee, Dr. Anthony Fauci and former Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman Mark Milley. President-elect Trump is promising to sign dozens of executive actions later today.
Now on the international front, the first phase of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas now underway with the release of 3 hostages taken by Hamas and dozens of Palestinian prisoners who had been arrested by Israel. Here's ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge. He's in the West Bank.
Well, you can feel the sense of euphoria here as these first Palestinian detainees, women and young men, are welcomed back like heroes into the West Bank.
Again, that's Tom Sufi Burridge in the West Bank. That is the latest news. We've got your weather forecast next. I'm Jay Harper, WTN News.
That was Donald Trump last night at his victory rally in D.C. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC. Need a water filter? BetterWater.com. Where we're seeing everybody walk into the rotunda. Supreme Court justices now entering. And if you're watching live on Supertalk TV. You get all this picture-in-picture. Go to our YouTube channel, search Supertalk 99.7 WTN, hit the like button, subscribe, all the things. Brian Wilson is actually in D.C. live right now. How is it out there right now, Brian? Can you feel the excitement building? We got about 24 minutes until Vance gets sworn in.
That's right. Yeah.
And then 54
it is
minutes
exciting.
till Trump.
It is exciting. I'm in a room in the Rayburn building, because they moved everything indoors. There's a lot of people who were going to have tickets outside who were going to be witnesses to this. And then when they decided to move it indoors because of the weather, a lot of people are left wondering, well, how am I going to watch it? Well, a great number of them have come to Capitol Hill. They've been escorted into the Rayburn building. We're in a hospitality suite of sorts where they are going to be watching, like a lot of our viewers are, off the C-SPAN feed in a room where they'll be warm, but they won't actually be able to lay eyes on the actual thing that's happening over in the rotunda. As you mentioned, a great number of luminaries, political luminaries, have arrived and have made their way to the rotunda. Former presidents, world leaders are now making their way there. The entire what will potentially be the Trump cabinet is on hand, and it looks like most members of the House and Senate will be allowed to witness, although there was some question about that last night.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's rolling in. I even saw Mike Pence taking a lonely walk by himself.
Very, very lonely walk through that walk. That picture comes one level below. It's called the crypt area, and it's an area that you walk in from a lower level. Then you come up a flight of stairs into the rotunda. The rotunda is a phenomenal place. If you've never been there, it is surrounded by these great statues that have been donated by states. And you look up straight up above, and there is a fresco painting done by a guy named Constantino Brumidi back in the 1860s. And it's called the Apotheosis of George Washington. Apotheosis means the raising of the level of a Greek god. In other words, they were in this painting imagining George Washington as a Greek god. And there's one great story about this is he's surrounded by 13 graces, women who represent the original 13 states of the United States. And what's interesting is apparently somebody noted years ago, back in the 1860s when they were painting that fresco, that a lot of the graces seem to have sort of a striking resemblance to women of the evening in Washington, D.C. at the time. And Constantino Bermudo was a man who might have rented them out in order to paint their pictures. So casting the gaze down upon all these are apparently prostitutes from the 1860s.
Well, it fits.
That's a true story.
It fits.
Yeah.
It's the early birthplace of the constitutional slush funds, right?
That's right. Exactly right. But it's getting packed in there. The president and the president-elect are both on Capitol Hill now. And as you say, in about 30 minutes or so, they will begin. Well, I guess it's about 21 minutes from now. We'll get the swearing in of the vice president, and then they back time everything so that it happens right straight up noon East Coast time. We'll hear the swearing in of Donald Trump, and I'm quite frankly looking forward to having Carrie Underwood sing in this rotunda, which will be something given the acoustics of that particular spot.
Oh, yeah. That's going to sound absolutely fantastic. Now, there were reports over the weekend that Vivek Ramaswamy might be stepping away from Doge, but about a little less than an hour ago, he posted a picture of himself and Elon Musk saying a new dawn. Trump over the weekend saying, he's excited about Vivek being in Doge. It seems like the fake news is already trying to cook up narratives and be a thorn in the side of this new administration.
Yeah, and look, you're going to hear a lot of that kind of stuff. This is a rumor mill. This town has always been a rumor mill, and there are just a lot of disgruntled people on Capitol Hill right now, and they carry one thing in common, and that's a D after their names. They're completely devastated by what's going on. By the way, as I say, we're in this room here in the Rayburn building, and a lot of people have come in out of the cold to watch the event, and apparently a few of them are Super Talk 99.7 listeners because they're all coming by to take pictures.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I got a text from a friend of ours, Tim, and he said we got some Sumner Countyans over there in the Rayburn building as well.
Yeah, where are y'all from? I'm sorry? Smithville, Tennessee. So,
all right.
Yeah, we got some local Middle Tennesseans here today.
Smithville checking in, and we'll check in with you again in a little bit, Brian. I appreciate you as always.
We'll be right here when you need us.
Man,
by the way, can I just say one thing?
Absolutely.
I don't want to forget and say thank you so much to the folks at Busy Bee for sponsoring these reports.
Yep.
We greatly appreciate it. We couldn't do it without them, and thanks again to Busy Bee HVAC for sponsoring my trip here to the nation's capital.
Yes, shout out. Those guys are awesome, man. They stepped up when we needed them. Shout out to Busy Bee HVAC. We love those guys. Brian Wilson, who's live in the Rayburn building. We'll be checking in with him in a little bit. There's a lot of people making their entrance into the Capitol. You saw all the tech bros, right? You saw the Alphabet CEO. They own Google. You saw Zuckerberg. You saw Bezos. And over the weekend, Steve Bannon was on ABC. And great interview always with Steve Bannon. I'm a big Bannon fan. But he was asked about the tech CEOs. And he was asked about, the fact that they're all coming back into the fold, it seems, with Donald Trump. And is he unifying this? What's happening? And Steve Bannon said that the tech CEOs, well, they're bending the knee. He said that President Trump broke the oligarchs. This is what it sounded like over the weekend on ABC with Steve Bannon.
The three richest Americans ever. You're going to see Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, prime seats. That doesn't seem like the forgotten men and women that Trump talked about last time. Are you surprised to see that?
I am not. They're there as supplicants. They're not there as the oligarchs. Remember what Biden said about the oligarchs. Jonathan, you know better than anybody because you've chronicled this in detail. We had no power. President Trump was out, and I mean when out, the political class in the Republican Party and Fox News turned against him. We're going to make him a non-person.
He was banned from their platforms.
For, I think, 18 months. But as soon as Zuckerberg said, I've been invited and I'm going, the floodgates opened up, and they were all there knocking, trying to be supplicants. So I look at this, and I think most people in our movement look at this as President Trump broke the oligarchs. He broke them, and they surrendered. They come and say, we'll take off any constraints. There'll be no more checkings, everything. And when
they surrendered. They surrendered. I take it with a grain of salt, this new leaf that they've all turned over. And I do think that none of them would have turned over this new leaf had Kamala Harris won, right? They're bending the knee, and they're surrendering to Donald J. Trump.
Biden talks about that. They create the oligarchs. They only became oligarchs, and they flipped on them when they had surrendered, and now they're going to come to Trump saying, I view this as September of 1945, the Missouri, and you have the Imperial High Command,
the Imperial Japanese,
and he's like Douglas MacArthur. They're there to. That is an official surrender, okay? And I think it's powerful.
Mark Zuckerberg is there. Do you believe his conversion?
Absolutely not. I think Mark Zuckerberg's a criminal. I think in a properly adjudicated, yes, for 2020, for the Zuckerbucks. But I want to see that. I want to see that in a systematic adjudication, either in the House or I think better with a grand jury and a special prosecutor to go through 2020.
You want Trump's Justice Department under Trump to prosecute
I didn't say that.
Mark Zuckerberg.
I didn't say that. What I want is the House to do it first. But if they're not prepared to do it, a special counsel set up that looks at the 2020 election and looks at it seriously and adjudicates it. If there's nothing there, there's nothing there. Zuckerberg's, road to Damascus came a little late. It was after the 5th of November. It's very, now he wants to be a bro. He kung fu fights. He's going to UFC. He's got his hair done differently. He's cut. That doesn't hack it with me. That guy will flip on President Trump, and he'll flip on us in a second. When it's convenient for him, he will flip.
Listen, I completely agree. Don't trust them. Don't trust them one bit. A lot of these tech oligarchs, I don't trust one bit. It is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Again, we are watching live what's happening inside the Capitol Rotunda as the former presidents have made their way in. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton are there, and we got a lot of distinguished guests and the music is going, the excitement is building, and it looks like we're waiting for J.D. Vance to enter and join in to be sworn in at about 10:30. They just introed Barack Obama.
You know, Chris, it just amazes me the money that is in that's in the Capitol Rotunda right now. I mean, if you've seen Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, of course, there's Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. Just those four guys, a combined net worth $887 billion. Just
Unreal.
those four guys.
You got Dana White in there as well. You got Barack Obama just entered solo. Michelle Obama is skipping the inauguration. She's not going to be joining. Nancy Pelosi also skipping the inauguration. We're going to be watching this live as J.D. Vance is sworn in. And you can see all of this live right now on Super Talk TV. If you're watching, here comes the Supreme Court.
John G. Roberts Jr. and the Associate Justices of the Supreme Court of the United States.
Supreme Court has just been introed. If you want to watch this live, you can join us on YouTube. Find Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be having this picture-in-picture all day long as this inauguration kicks off. But everybody's making their way in. Jay Harper said it. A lot of money in that room. Who's paying for lunch? It is fantastic to see what's happening right now. I mean, that room is packed. Absolutely packed to the gills. Is Brian on live still? Brian, what is your take of what's happening right now inside the Capitol?
Well, this is just all part of the pomp and ceremony, the pomp and circumstance. Everybody's got their own entry music. This is just, we don't do things like this very often in this country. But this is one moment where all of the political elite are sort of in one place, sort of like State of the Union, I guess, is the closest thing that comes to it. So a lot of ceremony, a lot of pomp, a lot of circumstance, a lot of music. Everything is historically based. I mean, they do these things because it's been done before. Again, earlier, can you imagine the unpleasant hour that Trump and Biden had to spend together over tea? Who came up with that idea? Where did that come from? And why are we still observing it? But it is the tradition, and they follow the tradition for these things right up until